In an earlier video, I showed this heavy weather tack and mentioned that I didn't sheet in and head up onto a close hauled course before tacking. I just tacked from a beam reach to a beam reach. But I didn't really explain why I did that. So today I want to talk about the tacking technique I often use in heavy weather and why. So the traditional way of tacking a sailboat is to head up onto a close hauled course, sheeting in the mainsail as you go, then executing the tack from one close hauled course to the other, and then, if needed, bearing away and sheeting out onto your new desired course on the new tack. This is how most sailors learn how to tack. I use the traditional close hauled to close hauled method in lighter winds or whenever the boat is sailing fairly upright. But when the winds really pick up, I often just tack from whatever point of sail I'm on to the opposite point of sail on a new tack. Sometimes this is from a close reach to a close reach, and sometimes it's a full 180-degree tack from beam reach to beam reach, basically just doing a U-turn with the boat. The traditional method of heading up and sheeting into a close hauled course has many advantages in most situations. For one, it can help maintain power and speed through the tack and prevent the boat from stalling out as you head directly into the wind, thus avoiding a failed tack. Sheeting in the mainsail will also increase the pressure on the stern and help the boat turn, bringing the bow through the wind. This can be especially helpful when waves are pushing against the bow. Finally, sheeting in the main and heading up to a close hauled course before executing a tack can provide better rudder performance and helm control because it helps the boat maintain speed and thus ensures you have plenty of water flowing over the rudder and makes the rudder more responsive. So then, what's the case for not heading up onto a close hauled course in heavy air before tacking? Well, the primary concern here is excessive heeling and maintaining control of your boat. If you complete the tack and then the bow gets blown down too far, further than you intended, you'll have the wind on your beam while the mainsail is still set for close hauled sailing. This will put immense pressure on the mainsail, cause excessive heeling, and potentially cause a capsize. It'll look something like this. So how do you end up with the boat bearing away further than intended after a heavy air tack? Well, poor helmsmanship for one, either poor timing, misjudging the new course, or simply not putting enough rudder soon enough. Another way is if the boat slows down too much during the tack because of the heavy winds and waves pushing against the boat while you're executing the tack. When you finally get onto your new tack, the boat may be moving too slowly or even backwards so that the rudder is rendered useless because there's not enough water flowing over it. That's what happened here. In this case, I completed the tack but lost too much momentum and the boat starts sliding backwards in the water until I can build up some speed. Another way you could end up bearing too far away after a tack is if you sheet in the headsail too quickly after the tack, which may bring the bow down past the close hauled course you intended. Or maybe you're sailing with a reefed mainsail but still have a full genoa. The larger headsail will put more pressure on the bow and cause the boat to fall away further than intended after completing the tack. It may also happen if the jib sheets get tangled, which is much more likely when sailing in heavy winds. In this case, I execute a tack, but my jib sheets get tangled on the mast and I can't fully release the jib, and the boat bears away. Of course, the point of sail with the most heeling is close hauled. So sometimes the winds are just so heavy and the boat is already heeling so much on a beam reach that you couldn't even come up to a close hauled course if you wanted to. In that case, you definitely don't want to sheet in the mainsail during your tack, as you'll find yourself excessively heeled over as soon as the mainsail sets on the opposite close hauled tack. So while the traditional method of sheeting in the mainsail to a close hauled course prior to tacking does help maintain boat speed and puts additional pressure on the stern to help bring the boat through the turn, when sailing in heavy winds, there's usually plenty of speed to make a full 180-degree turn from beam reach to a beam reach on the opposite tack. In heavy winds, I found not sheeting into a close hauled course to be safer and it keeps the boat more under control. It avoids excessive heeling and you don't have to worry about bearing away too far or having the bow blown down. Keeping the main sheet sheeted out to a beam reach or a close reach is much more forgiving when the mainsail sets on the other side of the tack. Please keep in mind that the Precision 18 is a very light boat. These techniques are going to work best on small trailerable boats. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. As always, I hope you found this helpful, and thanks for watching.